You know what it is. Back again. I'm Mike D.
Brother LT.
And we are Black and Yerrow.
You know
what I'm saying? So this week, we got a little something a little different. Last week, we got a little serious. I don't know. This week, we might get a little serious too. But I think we're going to laugh a little bit. Y'all check it out. See what we're going to do.
Let's roll.
Is there anybody 50 Cent fears? Ever? Historically in life?
Now, all of the situations, if you don't have fear, then you're just not acknowledging danger.
All right.
That point.
I learned that in the 50th law.
Nah, yeah, but you just not stupid. Then you're not scared of nothing. So you watch that guy that just has zero fear.
I will tell you that fear keeps you alive. The reality of fear is not weakness. The reality of fear is that it embodies all your emotions into that point. Now, the thing about fear is that you can either run to it or run from it. That's what people say fear is, that you run from it. But the definition is fear gives you that innate ability to evaluate the problem at the time.
Right,
Most issues with fear is that people don't evaluate the situation and they run from it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so what 50 is saying is correct. I completely believe in it. Look, everybody's going to fear something in life. Ain't nobody that tough. The problem is that nobody expresses the fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of death, fear of physical harm, fear of whatever the description is. The problem with it, the way people view things, they say if you're scared, then you ain't fully a man. Does that make sense? Like as kids, when you scared, what do they call you? A chicken. No, a chicken, right? You scared, punk, whatever that it is. Fear is just a byproduct of the situation. Whatever that situation is, you got to take care of.
I will say this. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of the man that ain't afraid. I'm afraid of the man. If somebody is not afraid of anything, they got some issues.
You know what that's called? I learned a new word. You know what that's called? You in the spectrum.
Call it. If that's a spectrum, I don't know what that is.
No, because real dudes, real people from real life, and I can tell you from the streets or not the streets or whatever it is, we all have fear.
Well, in any situation, like I said, one thing that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm afraid of, that I have fear of,
the dark
is a man that doesn't have any fear.
Wouldn't the dark?
No, I'm not that dark.
No, the dark.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of Peter.
Come on, Yarrow.
But what I'm saying is that anybody that is not afraid of something, if he proclaims and he projects that he's not afraid of anything and he shows no fear in anything, I am deathly afraid of that cat, because he's a dangerous dude. He's beyond psychotic. He's got some real serious problems. But that's not what
we're talking about. We're talking about normal, everyday.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. You asked me what I'm afraid of. Now, am I afraid of certain other things? Yeah, definitely. Life is scary if you really want to think about it.
Life is scary.
And now life is also something that we have to face. Life is something that's what we have to walk through. You know, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. I mean, yeah, you still have fear. You still have doubts. You still have those things that creep up. It's real easy to turn back.
To what?
It's real easy to turn back and not walk down that valley. So to shield yourself from that fear, facing those fears, just like you said earlier, and I got to agree with it. Facing those fears is what makes you a man. Doesn't mean that you're not afraid, but you got to face it. It just in the same instance of facing the dark. Okay, if I'm a little kid and I'm afraid of the dark, at some point I have to turn off the lights.
Well, let me ask you something to kind of get out. Same subject, fear. And we both older cats, right? Do you have a fear of being lonely?
No.
Why?
I'm asking.
I asked that because I'm assuming, when you an older cat, we above 40 and we in our 50s. And I will tell you, when we get above a certain amount of age, you fear, one of the biggest fear that I've noticed and I've talked to people is being alone. And that's a tough ass thing to swallow, because you can't really control it, because it's dependent upon the other person or whatever that you need to change to be with that partner.
Okay,
you feel me?
I'm gonna say this. All right, so
let's put some context into it, right?
Okay.
I mean, same woman, 30 plus years. I'm a grandfather. He a grandfather. He got about 20 exes. Can I say exes? Is that too much S's?
I have one ex.
His name Tricky Dicky for a reason.
I have one
ladies
ex.
and gentlemen.
I have one ex. One ex-wife. I've only been married once.
Ex-girlfriends?
I've only had one ex-wife.
What's the difference?
Girlfriends don't count.
Girlfriends don't count?
No. But here's my thing. Here's my thing.
If you 70. No, I'm just saying, if you 70.
I look good. I would look really good for 70 if I'm 70.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not saying you 70. I'm saying if you 70, what's the process if you ain't got nobody?
Same process I got right now. My mom is 80. She ain't got nobody. She lives by herself. She's got her 80th birthday's coming up.
All right.
And she's been, my pop's has
5 years?
Since 2017. So that's 6 years?
I was at the funeral.
6 years. So 6 years ago, lost my pop. My mom's been single ever since. She's been alone by herself ever since. I don't have a fear of being alone. Being alone doesn't scare me. I mean, I'm alone now. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a partner, so to speak.
You don't.
I don't fear. That's not a fear. When I died alone. My biggest fear, if we don't talk about fears, and slightly off subject, we're still on the subject. My biggest fear is the fear of the unknown. Because when I did die, when I did have the heart attack, when I did go down, and I don't remember it, I don't remember anything. So my entire life, I've been conditioned as a Catholic. I've been conditioned that there is an afterlife, that there is a purgatory, there's a heaven, there's a hell. Since I don't remember anything, that's my biggest fear, is that I don't remember anything, that I don't know if there's anything beyond. That's my biggest fear. That there's nothing beyond this life that I've been conditioned my entire life to believe. There is something more, whether it be heaven or whether it be hell, and whatever.
You don't know what's beyond.
Whatever I earned in this life for the next life,
you don't know if it's going to carry.
I don't know if it exists because I don't remember anything.
So what if the existence is gone?
Then
is that a weird thing to say?
Yes and no, in the sense that
let's put some context in it. He had a heart attack 3 years ago. Died twice.
3 times.
Heart stopped.
3 times.
3 times.
Larry. In a coma for 7 days.
Oh, I was there.
In a coma for 7 days. My thing, like I said, fear, another fear. I don't know what a heart attack feels like, even though I had a massive heart attack, because I don't remember. So any little chest pain that I may get, okay, is that a heart? Now that fear has kind of waned a little bit, and it is what it is. If I get that pain, and the doctor said, no, you ain't gonna know, it's on the outside, it's on the muscle or whatever, that's not the pain that you're gonna feel as a heart attack. So that fear kind of wanes when I get little cramps or stuff in my chest. I fear that there's no life beyond this life. I fear that.
Well, that's a good one.
My fears are, if you call it earthbound, if you will. It's not about.
So monetary doesn't matter.
No, I've been broke many times.
Relationship don't matter.
I've been single a long time.
So your fear
is the unknown.
That's
what happens
really
beyond
profound.
what happens beyond this life?
Because you will have to leave this life.
We gonna leave. There's no doubt. We will leave.
That's right. That's a true fact.
We will leave. So my biggest fear is there something, everything that I've been taught my entire life, from the time that I could comprehend, is
heaven or hell or purgatory.
Heaven or hell, purgatory. You're gonna stop in purgatory, boom, whatever,
So when
Judgment Day
you died,
is there nothing?
So when you died, there was nothing.
Is there? That's my fear. Is there nothing?
Know.
Now, and this is getting into slightly different philosophical type thing and religious sort of thing, but we believe that there is something beyond this life.
We do believe.
The majority of us believe that. Or if you're a Christian, if you have some type of religious sense.
Most people haven't been in your position.
No, luckily, thank God.
Most people haven't died 3 times.
No. So again, my thing is that's my biggest fear. One thing that I think, it sounds funny, but in dying, it's allowed me to live.
Yeah.
One of my dad's words when we found out, or when he found out that he had an aneurysm, was, you know what? I'm gonna live until I die. And he did exactly that.
You know what that you told me that was extremely profound, which is completely reverse of what I've ever heard of?
Everything happens for a reason.
Mike said
God makes no mistakes.
He never realized how much people really loved him until he went down.
Oh yeah,
instead of the other way, I never realized how much I loved life till I died. He said, you know what, man? I never realized how much people actually loved me until I died.
Actually, what it was.
What'd you say?
I didn't know how much. I mean, because love is love is kind of subjective. But I didn't know how many people actually cared.
Ain't that the same?
I don't think it's the same. I really don't think it's the same. I think that caring and loving is 2 different things. Now,
But for the majority of the people that looking in, they're gonna look at the other way around. It's like, everybody thinks about who's gonna attend my funeral because they're like curious, right? But for you, you actually like you didn't witness it in that scenario. But the verbiage that you did tell me, and it was so profound, is like, man, I really didn't know how many people cared for me until these people showed up. That people showed up. I didn't even think he remembered my name, but he showed up. And
yeah, I mean,
she showed up, and
people
whatever that it was.
Yeah, people that here's the thing. You look at social media and stuff like that, and you see where somebody passed away, and then everybody flocks to
They want to be a part
to
of
show
it.
their support. And oh my God, he was my best friend. And Bro, I ain't seen you in 45 years, and I'm only 43. What you talking about? I'm your best friend, and you miss me. You know what I'm saying? But being in that position where I went down, and people actually, one of my homeboys at work, he was so in shock that he just saw me laying there, couldn't do anything. He was just that much in shock. And you say, like, oh man, what kind of friend is that? But I mean, the fact that he cared that much that he was so in shock, he was just frozen. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Another partner of mine, one of what I consider a real close friend of mine, got in there and said, what happened? Boom, y'all ain't did nothing. Move out the way. Boom. I'm gonna do everything I can to save him. I don't even know if I can save him, but I'm gonna do everything I can to save him.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. He pushed people throughout.
But even being in the hospital and so forth and so on, the visits and so forth and so on, that I don't remember, that I do not remember, and that I think, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I don't remember, but I don't remember, So, but looking back at it, and after I came out the hospital and after I was here alone, Mom went back home. She said, okay, I told Mom to go home. I'm good. I stayed here almost another month by myself in this house. You start dawning, you start analyzing things and thinking about things. And it's like, man, I didn't realize how many people really cared and the depth of their caring. I had another friend of mine, we never really hung out or anything else like that. He realized I'm back from the hospital. He realized his mom went back went back home. Hey, bro, listen, I'm gonna stop by. I'm gonna bring you some food. What do you want to eat? No, I'm bringing you something. What do you want to eat?
Do you think people feel that? Do you think people do that because they feel bad or because they genuinely care?
Well, I'm gonna say this.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I'm gonna say this. I hope they do it because they genuinely care. Not to look good, because it's real easy again to say, man, thoughts and prayers. It's real easy to say that and just carry on with your life. But to interrupt your life, and that's what made me say, man, these people actually give a fuck about me, bro.
Oh, there was people that interrupted their life for you.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I had partners come from home, come just make that trip one day to drive another 6 hours down here, 6 hours back, just to say, hey man, I want to check on you and see if you good. That is real deep for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made me realize, man, that's what made me make the statement that I didn't realize how many people actually give a damn. How many people actually care what happens to Mike, Tricky Dick, Dickie, Dick, whatever.
Yerrow!
Whatever name, uncle, whatever name that is given, and I mean, it's not like we haven't faced death. I mean, and I say it faced death of our close loved ones that have passed away. My pops, my brother.
That's right.
My other brother, your moms, your pops, your grandma, so forth, so on, and we face death every day. But when it happens to you, it gives you that different perspective in life.
But that's why I guess we transitioned from fear into that, and I'm glad that we talked about. My assumptions is most people don't want to be lonely, right?
Yeah,
for me, I look at fear in a different light because of the way that I live my life, right? And we'll get into all that as podcast goes on about me and my past and him and his past, but I would tell you that the perspective of just what you said is so profound, dog. It's so profound. To understand somebody that kind of went through and walked through the valley of death, died, they said that your heart stopped for 3 minutes or 4 minutes or how many minutes?
No, they said it was because so okay.
You was gone.
Yeah, I was done. So
Heart stopped.
they said that I was gone for roughly about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Now,
No,
from what
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
I don't know. That's what I was told. Now I was legally dead for the doctor told me that I was legally dead for about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. However, because they had me on life support, I was getting some type of oxygen to my brain. From what I understand, you can only survive without oxygen to your brain for only like 12 or 13 minutes, or maybe not even that long. I don't know. But I was legally dead for what they said, 20 minutes.
Your ass was dead.
But like I said, part of it is the fact that I don't remember. And like I said, maybe that's a good thing. The other side of it is that it brought a different perspective. Now, I'm not going to change necessarily who I am. I appreciate things. We were talking about, last podcast, we were talking about appreciation of your mistakes.
That's right.
I appreciate life. Now, some would say, here I am smoking this cigar.
Cigars. So what I'm smoking is one of my all-time favorites, just to let you know. It's a Fuente Double Chateau Sun-Grown.
He's fancy.
No, I've been smoking it for 30 years. It is phenomenal. It is my go-to. It is one of the better ones in life.
Well, I will say I'm smoking a Ipicairo. Hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I like how you roll that off.
Yeah, I'm trying to. But on the same token, getting back to the original subject, fear. Bro, it's
Here's a
and
thing.
not saying that I don't fear other things,
But I think that
one things I don't in facing death. One thing I don't face that I fear now is death. And I don't think I've ever feared death. I think I've feared the way that I would die. And then after dying, I don't even fear that. Truthfully,
you were there.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
Because you don't know.
It's funny when my dad was dying, and my dad had a personal nurse, and my mom was there, and she was holding him. And luckily, the most beautiful thing in the world, that my mom actually got to be there. And it sounds crazy that my mom got to be there when my dad died, but my mom got to hold him, and they said all their prayers. They said part of the rosary because it didn't last that long, but they got to say things and speak to each other in a way that they probably never spoke to each other before.
The last moments.
The last words, you know what I'm saying? And I remember my dad's nurse asked my dad, Mr. D, are you scared? My pop said, no. He said, no, I'm at peace. And man, that hit me so hard. And then facing my death myself, I understand why he said what he said. Now, my pop was at a different level. My pop was at peace, mentally, physically, definitely spiritually.
Yeah.
He made his peace with God, and he was ready. And he like in his words, I'm gonna live until I die. He lived until he died.
For the community, Pops was one of the last cool, just born cool, just cool.
He was pretty plain.
Just cool. Lived his life, just cool. I would tell you, as podcast goes on, some of the stories that he would tell me and some of the things that he wanted me to do, right? Can I say that? As far as with Yerrow, a.k.a. Tricky Dicky, a.k.a. What's your other a.k.a.?
I got a lot of AKAs.
You got a lot of AKAs?
I got a lot of AKAs. And based on that, we out.